Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Morbid Visions. I'm going to do another top 5 list for this one, and this time I chose to do movies from my favorite horror director. That would be John Carpenter. I just feel his output has the most home runs for me. He's just created so many classic horror films and sci-fi films for that matter. So yeah, let's jump right in. Number 5, The Fog. Very atmospheric, creepy ghost story. This is the movie starts off with a ghost story around a campfire, and that's what this movie feels like. It's one of those films that you want to watch around Halloween time. Just the atmosphere is just the perfect setting for Halloween time or whatever. Adrian Barbeau is the lead character. Tom Atkins, awesome actor, staple in the horror genre. But yeah, it's a very cool movie. Again, like I was saying, this is one of the ones. At first, this wasn't very high on my list for John Carpenter movies, and I think when I was younger, I think it was because I was just used to the really crappy looking VHS copies. But once I saw it on Laserdisc for the first time, and I saw it widescreen, the Panavision, I was just blown away. I'm like, this movie looks amazing. Oh my god. I'm like, John Carpenter must have been pissed when they first released his stuff on VHS with the pan and scan and just everything smooshed right up into the screen. Because the movie looks amazing. It's so nicely shot. But yeah, very cool movie. Very atmospheric ghost story. So if you haven't seen The Fog, definitely check it out. Don't watch the remake. The remake is pure garbage. Do not watch it. Avoid at all costs. Unbelievably bad. But John Carpenter's The Fog. Check that one out. Alright, this one might surprise people for number 4, but I absolutely love this movie. Cigarette Burns from Masters of Horror. This is such an awesome segment from it's definitely by far my favorite segment from Masters of Horror. This is just on a whole nother level than most of the other stories. I think it was definitely his best output since In the Mouth of Madness. Cursed film. It's a fascinating story. Very cool story. It's just one of those movies that as I was watching this story, instantly I got sucked in and I was becoming fascinated by it. I was like, just the concept of this obscure movie that was driving people insane and causing all sorts of chaos. Love the idea of the story. This is very cool. I love this movie. It landed into my top 4 of John Carpenter movies. So Cigarette Burns, find it somewhere, check it out. It's only an hour long. Technically it's not even a full-length movie. I think full length is supposed to be like 65 minutes or 67 minutes, whatever. But anyways, it's called a movie. Cigarette Burns. Alright, now definitely one of his ultimate classics. A lot of people consider this their favorite John Carpenter movie. It's a masterpiece, and it's The Thing. Such an incredible movie. The claustrophobia, the paranoia that the characters are thrust into, and the feeling that this movie creates is just so masterfully done. And this is still the top movie when it comes to special makeup effects. There's nothing else that touches this movie. What Rob Bottin and Stan Winston did in this movie is absolutely phenomenal. Just there's nothing else touches this still. And I'm sorry, the practical special makeup effects in this 1982 movie, I believe it was, 1982, surpasses all CGI gore effects and creature effects. I'm sorry. CGI can't even touch this, and they proved it with the prequel they made. Unbelievable. Just absolutely unbelievable. And, alright, effects aside, forget the effects. Effects don't make a movie. It's a great movie. It's a great character movie of, like I said, paranoia, confusion, deception, people not trusting everyone, becoming paranoid of people around you all the time. Such a good movie. some people say it's a perfect movie. I'd probably say it's a perfect movie, yeah. It's not my top John Carpenter movie, but yes, this is just absolutely incredible film. If you haven't seen it, if you just happen to run into my channel and my videos and you're younger or whatever and you just have to say, do yourself a favor and get this movie. Watch it. You're going to love it. Okay, number 2. Again, my number 2 is probably a lot of people's number 1. My staple in the horror genre, of course, it's Halloween. But it is it's only my number 2. Absolutely classic movie. It's this is one of those movies that you have to watch around Halloween time. In October, this has to go on. It's just like the movie. I put this movie actually probably ends up on my player at least 5 times during October at least. And you don't have to be paying attention to it. This movie basically adds up to as one of your favorite songs. I'll be doing something in the house and I just want this on for background because I know it. I know it by heart. I know this movie. I get to have everything memorized in this movie. So it's like having your favorite song playing in the background. That's how I sum up Halloween. And I always find it odd when I see people who just don't like it and hate the movie. I mean, obviously everyone has different tastes, but it just has the feel of Halloween. If you enjoy the Halloween season, this is just like it just needs to go on at least once just to celebrate the season, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, if for some reason you're really young or you've been under a rock, slasher movie, it's actually not the first slasher movie. There were slasher movies in the 70s, but this is the one that started the craze. Not even gory. There's really hardly any blood in this movie, really. But this sparked like the craze that started with Friday the 13th and everything else. But the classic movie of Michael Myers, very cool movie. It's a classic. You can't argue that. Okay, now my number 1 John Carpenter movie. I saw this on opening night when it came out in the theaters, and just simply during the opening credit sequence, I was just sitting there in awe. I'm like, I'm watching greatness. This movie, I've already loved this movie. I fell in love with this movie just during the opening credit sequence, which is a very long opening credit sequence, so that's been pointed out many times. But Prince of Darkness. Love this movie. There's just something about this film. This film, right from the beginning, right during the opening credit sequence, fills you with dread. This movie, within like the opening notes of the score at the beginning of the film, sets a tone instantly. John Carpenter is a master when it comes to scoring his films. Each one of his movies has a distinct sound where the music becomes its own character in the film. And Prince of Darkness is no exception. Something odd is discovered in a church, and scientists are come to try to figure out what it is that they found, what is happening, what's changing the environment, and yeah, very, very cool. One of the tops of satanic movies. I guess it would fall into like satanic cinema type films about the devil and stuff. But yeah, it's just in the story. It's funny, even though I'm not into religion or anything like that, I love religious horror films, and this is a very good one. This one takes it more into a scientific approach with physics and stuff like that, and just quantum physics, which makes it fascinating. I find it fascinating that way, the way they approach the story in this film. It's not a gore fest or anything like that, which a lot of John Carpenter stuff isn't actually. He's more about mood and atmosphere and telling really good character stories that creep you out. And I think Prince of Darkness was his best one. I just love everything about this movie. Like I said, as soon as I hear the opening music in this movie, I'm fixed. I'm just sucked right into the screen. And I'm so glad I saw this on opening night in the theater. I was actually maybe a little too young to get in, but an older friend got me in, and it was incredible. I've loved it ever since. I'm showing a very old DVD because I wanted the original artwork. I wanted to show you the original artwork, which is one thing I don't like about sometimes with new releases, is they come up with a new customized artwork. When I'm in love with a certain type of film, I always want the original artwork on it, and I don't think this is ever. I do have a British version of this too, because the British one, this has nothing. This is just bare bones. This is one of the original DVDs that have these things. I mean, but the British one has this cover art, a little altered version of it, but that had the audio commentary. And of course, I've got the Shout Factory one with all the great special features and stuff. Love to go to the location. It's now what is it? It's a theater where they have plays and stuff. I would love to be able to visit there. California, other side of the country. I'll probably never make it. I'm lazy. Okay, so Prince of Darkness, my favorite John Carpenter movie. And just to do it, because we've done in all the other ones, a recap. The Fog, cigarette burns, fascinating story. So cool. Love this story. The Thing, masterpiece of paranoia and creature effects. Halloween, it's a staple. It's an absolute classic in the horror genre. There's no denying it. I mean, you gotta love this movie. If you don't love it, you gotta at least respect it. You have to at least respect this movie. And Prince of Darkness, filled with dread and the devil. Okay, so those are my top picks for John Carpenter films. If you like this video, well, like it. Give it a like. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to Morbid Vision Films. I enjoy creating this content for you, and I like to keep doing it. So, thank you very much. See you next time.